Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James and it's time for another instructive chess miniature. In this game we're going to be seeing Rossolimo do a very inspired sacrifice. In fact, it does remind me of the old Marshal game, the gold coins game where he actually sacrifices his queen. Hopefully you'll see it in the game. Let's get to it. Here we go. We play e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, the Italian game, bishop c5, now we're in the Gioco piano, and pawn c3, very classical way to play here. Anytime they bring this bishop out, the idea is to play c3 and d4 for the extra tempo. For those who are a little bit more aggressive, like myself, you go ahead and play this b4 like Morphy will, and we're going to go into a Evans Gambit here. With that being said, classical chess got played here today. Pawn c3, knight f6, d4. The theory here is very dense. Pawn takes, bishop b4 check. The only move that will stop you from not losing your pawn. Well, white wants to lose a pawn in a lot of these lines to get very good attacking chances. In this one, bishop d2 got played, and well, bishop takes on d2, knight takes on d2, and this is exactly what black wants. He wants to go pawn to d5 here and mess up white's center. If you don't play this move, you're going to have a rough time. After this one, black does have a slight, very slight plus because white has the isolated pawn. With that being said, well, sometimes we like the isolated pawn because we like to attack. Pawn takes on d5, knight takes on d5, and queen to b3 here. A nice little battery putting pressure on the knight, but also on this f7 pawn over here. Knight c goes to e7, castles, pawn to c6, and black's doing a very good job by holding this d5 square, which is very common, again, in these isolated pawns. You want to control the square in front of it. The next thing black would want to do is try to make as many trades as possible. The more trades he gets, the better the endgame will be for himself. Assuming it's king and pawn endgame, it should just be a technical win. Alright, rook e1, castles, pawn to a4, very interesting move here. Something that we've seen a lot more recently as computers have really started to show us, by pushing these pawns forward, we can definitely make weaknesses over here on the queen side. b6 got played, and knight to e5. Here, white's slowly getting a very good game by just putting his pieces in the center. And knight e5 here again puts pressure on f7, and now the new weakness after b6 was played, the c6 pawn over here. Bishop b7 got played, and pawn to a5, rook to c8. I was a little curious why black did not want to choose this b5 move, but after looking at it for a few seconds, you see that you get this very bad weak square here for black, and also now the pawn does become backwards here. So definitely not the best after taking a second look at it. So rook c8 got played, knight to e4. Here the knights are traveling over to the king side. Queen to c7. Pawn to a6, kicking this bishop away, bishop to a8, and queen to h3. Remember, the h7 square is the weakness, so a lot of the attacks will come for the square. And here we go. Black played knight f4, trying to get a free tempo off of the queen. And, well, I'm sure he was happy to see this. He plays the very interesting move, queen to g4 here. And black goes in and plays knight e to d5. And I can already hear somebody asking, why don't we try something like something like knight back over here? Well, here, simply moving the knight forward here is going to get your inactive pieces ready. Now, the knight is a little bit crazy over here because it can be only defended by another piece. And when that happens, things can't go wrong tactically. Knight d5 gets played. And again, it's just defending this knight over here. If this knight does get attacked, it can just jump back. You'd have to be a little careful for tactical reasons, but it should be okay. And now a very nice move here by Rossolimo. He goes ahead and plays rook to a3. Here this rook was not helping out at all, and now it's perfect timing to do a rook lift, or Capablanca's rook. Here the rook is getting ready to slide over to the king side. Maybe f3, g3, or h3. All these squares are very good for the king side attack. You can see that Rossolimo has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces over here aiming toward the king side, and while this was the only one not in it, he's going to go ahead and bring it over. And there's definitely king side attacking chances because, well, how many king side pieces do we have over here defending? I'd say maybe 1, maybe 2. If you want to count this rook over here, you can, but I don't really count that one as much. So here there definitely is need be to go ahead and do the kingside attack. All right, here we go. Knight to e6 got played. And now, well, bishop takes on d5 here. Somebody might be also asking in these kind of positions, what's wrong with trying the pawn to f5? Well, after pawn f5 here, white to move and win, what do? Here we go ahead and play queen takes f4. Don't forget about your pins, right? So this is probably why black went ahead and played the knight back to e6. Now this f5 move is actually a threat. And, well, that's why Rossolimo goes ahead and plays. Bishop takes d5, C takes d5, and now it is game over. White to move and win. Do you want to see if you can calculate the whole thing? If not, what would you play here as white to start the attack? All right, here we go. Feel free to push pause if you want to. Knight f6 check got played. King to h8, and you're looking at this position. There has to be something here. You know, a weaker player here would definitely try to move the knight away. And, well, because this knight's hanging, they don't want to lose a piece. And, well, there's many winning moves here. Here we get that idea from that Marshall game, the gold coin game. It's such a beautiful move. It was said that, you know, gold coins were thrown on the board. Here, Rossolimo is definitely in the footsteps of him and plays a beautiful queen sacrifice here to force checkmate. What do you play here? Well, here Rossolimo found the beautiful move, queen to g6 here. And it's so beautiful because every variation is just going to be losing here for black. And in the game, you know, black went ahead and tried this nice idea, queen c2. This is still checkmate. But, yeah, let's take a look. Why can't we take this free queen? When there's two different ways to take it and both are losing, there's definitely something going on here. Well, let's take a look at the first line. H takes on g6. Well, this should just be an easy one, right? The rook just slides over to h3, and this is just checkmate because the knight is covering over here. What about f takes on g6? Again, we see almost the exact same idea. Knight takes on g6, h takes on g6, and then rook over to h3 for checkmate. You might ask yourself, can we grab other pieces in this position instead? I mean, can't we just take the knight over here? Grabbing the knight is just as bad as the other one. I mean, by the way, we are threatening queen takes h7 for checkmate here. So if you do try to take the knight, g takes on f6. Well, after queen takes on f6, knight back to g7. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any good moves here. After rook to g3, you basically have to lose your queen now, as there's no good way to defend this knight. Rook to g8 gets played, and now we have knight takes on f7 check, and the queen must sacrifice herself. Although there's no immediate checkmate here, well, the game is just pretty much over. So in the game, queen g6 was played. Here, black played queen to c2, and it looks like a very nice logical move. You know, it's stopping the idea of queen takes on h7 here. But again, there's still forced checkmate here, and, well, he's able to figure it out. I'll give you this one last one. What white to move, what do you play here to make your opponent resign? There's only one line to checkmate here. What do you do? All right, guys, this was a hard one, especially because now your queen's hanging a third time with this queen. But believe it or not, you just go ahead and play rook to h3, and it is still forced checkmate. Unfortunately, this was a pseudo defense because after queen takes on g6, nothing changed here. Knight takes on g6, and you can't take back with your h-pawn because, well, the rook's spinning, so you take back with the f-pawn. And again, excuse me, we see rook takes on h7 for check and mate. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this nice, beautiful miniature. We'll see you in the next game.